Yesterday, I could not stream that meeting for the life of me. It would not let me use the stream key I wanted to use, and I kept trying. It wouldn't do it. So I'm like, well, I'll just share a link. Ended up that Chris was going to postpone until next week, but they did put us on in front of his group, so that's kind of cool.
Oh, so you went in front of the W?
Yeah, the WSB people. So
Yeah, the WSB. I almost said WWE.
according to Creed, like 400 of them tuned in live to that, so that was kind of cool. But it wasn't like the talk that we were planning to have. It was more or less just hanging out and doing the closing bell type of thing. And it's kind of humbling because like I've got people interested in what I have to say for analysis, and it kind of boggles my mind. And like they had me on. It was Big Beat, Creed, myself, and Christopher from ChatterQuant, all on the same page, and they were bouncing trade ideas off of us, and like ChatterQuant would go and look at it one way, and then I would go and look at the chart, and it was funny because both the things they had us look up we clashed on. I was like, no, this is not a good trade. So it was kind of interesting because I was like looking at the chart, and I'm just like, well, the chart tells me everything I need to know in the candles, and like they're asking me like, well, does volume matter? I'm like, yes and no. But I look at price action the way you look at volume. I look at the candles, tell me exactly how much volume is in that move.
That's great.
And it was just like, I'm not like at a point where I don't want to sound arrogant in saying that like I'm surprised you didn't know that. But actually, it was just more of not everybody thinks about things in this way. So it's like you kind of gotta not necessarily dumb it down, but just it's a different way of thinking. I see volume, I see orders stacked in each of these candles. I think of just a whole pile of plates stacking up in that candle, and that's what I see. And I can go and look at the volume bars and realize, okay, well, that's not a whole lot of volume. Why is that candle so built? Well, this is showing the volume of trading that happened in that price action, but it doesn't necessarily tell you how rapidly or how slowly the ask or bid was chased in that. So like you're not seeing that order size versus price of the order or time in sales is adding up to that, but it is. It's just a matter of the volume was either higher or lower in that move. So we have a volume low situation. We're coming back, hitting that 50% retracement like we thought was going to happen. Pretty plain and simple. We're bouncing off that pivot again. Here we are. So we don't get the third leg yet, but we can accumulate into the third leg. But looking at the volume, that buying volume wasn't very strong. That's kind of why you get these retracements. You get not a lot of volume in that candle. That's why you would even look at the volume to begin with. That volume stayed about the same until it turned bearish. And you go to each of these candles and you'll see volume does matter. But if you look at price action long enough, you almost forget to look at your volume profile. And it's just kind of like you see it in the candles anyway. You just know what's there.
Right.
All right, here's Meta coming back, testing that pivot we marked out yesterday down to 112.16. Oh, and by the way, hello everybody on YouTube.
Hey everybody on YouTube. Hey y'all.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell.
That's right. Check us out. We've got a lot of stuff coming your way, guys. A lot of stuff. And it just gets bigger and bigger. I actually opened a Reddit account yesterday. I started talking on Reddit. So I joined the groups, the usuals, the Wall Street bets and options.
Let me post in there. So I got pissed off and left.
Yeah. It'll let me comment, but it won't let me post yet. I guess I got to build some what do they call that? Karma. I don't know. I don't Reddit much, but I figured I'd just I'll start throwing myself out there and building my social media rapport. Why not?
I don't Reddit much.
And if I comment and they start telling me I'm full of FUD, all the better.
Call me Alma.
Yeah, that's right.
Wascally Wabbits.
Ain't I a stinker? Sorry, we're going Looney Tunes over here. That's how cool we are.
All right, so we're at the top of the 15-minute range here right now for SPY. And on the 5-minute chart, we still got about 2.5 minutes for this candle to close. But it's looking interesting.
I was going to kind of talk a little bit about that butterfly I did. It was way the heck out of the money, and the way I was able to make it work was kind of funny. I opened it up.
Money, kind of funny. You're rhyming today.
I opened it, and it expires the 18th. It's on SPY. It's at like the 360 level. No one would ever think to open a butterfly there unless they had a commission-free options account. So I was able to open it initially for a $5 debt, and then I was able to leg out of the credit spread on the bottom of the butterfly and close it for a credit of $5. So I was able to make it a zero risk debit spread after all. So it's like, I don't care what happens to that thing. It can sit there and stew sideways and do nothing, expire worthless. Or if, by gosh, SPY starts approaching those prices, that's a $2 wide spread that I have for free. So I was able to leg back out of the other half of that butterfly. So I was able to buy back one of the bodies and then sell the wing that was in the money, roll that into a free position. So now what? Later on, I can stack that body back on. I can go and sell one more body and sell a credit spread on the bottom of that, and actually be able to turn that into a net positive position that can't lose later on. So if SPY gets down towards that level, I can certainly do that. And gosh, if price stays exactly at the body of that thing, that'd be a monumental win. So we'll see what happens as it goes. Like I said, it could be worthless. It could be worth something. But with a commission-free account, and I have zero cost in it, I've got capital to move into other trades. I can go build 1,000 of those if I want. So, it's just kind of a what if, but it's like having a free lotto ticket too. So, All right. Meta, come back. We hit that wick right into that pivot, dude. I mean, clean to the penny. Sometimes I scare myself with how efficient that is. Now what? Can we get a leg out of Meta? That's certainly possible. We've got the measured move leg. We got 1.5 leg move. Can we finish that business and run to that 114.25 area? Quite possibly. Let's stick a pivot up there and then trace it back to where it would end up in that gap down as far as control bars go on a 30-minute chart. Zoom way out, creep it over, creep back in. Guess what? That's half a control bar, just about. Wait, no, where am I? 114.25. Okay, that's back in the base.
Sideways action at the moment.
Bottom of the wick.
What time is it? 10:45.
The key pivot on Meta that we're looking at here is that 115. If we break out above that, then we can expect a move up into dividing this control bar right here on the 30-minute chart. Let's go with a 15-minute and see what pieces of that look relevant. Anytime you have a big bar like that, you can look at the individual pieces of it in smaller and smaller time frames, and that's where we set up all these horizontal lines. It's where we set up all these pivots and these price zones. And it's simply a matter of trading between the pivots. When you see price react to one pivot with a reversal, you can expect a move to the next pivot. The hard part is finding where those pivots are. They're just points of interest. You've got an open, close, a high, and low on every candle that you see. And if you stick this pivot right here at about 120.08, that is a piece of this bar. So if we break that 115 key pivot, the center of this whole gap, that's likely the price target we can set on Meta. So now we go back, reset the chart to where we're at now. Whoops, actually, before I do, let's make this into a different color so we can make it stand out later in the chart time. I want to turn it yellow. Now we'll reset chart. Whoops. Where is that in relation to today's price action? Well, now I'm confused. Where was I? Hang on. Go back to it. That was the bar. Okay, that's the yellow bar. Right. All right, 120. This one, not this one. I don't know why it didn't appear when I went back to this time frame, but there it is.
10:47.
And here comes a
We're
couple
done
hammers
with econ.
right off that pivot. So this is going to be natural price action. We don't have any news events that are kind of skewing the market all over the damn place. We've got actual price action happening. It looks like we're going to go and retrace at least to the top of the leg on SPY. We've got 2 pivots to work with on that note. We got there's a 397. If I can get it to lay a pivot there. And if we get to resistance on that pattern that we're seeing right there, there's a control bar right in there to about 397.40. That bar right there. Points of interest. That's where you get your price levels.
Took my eyes off of it.
There goes Meta rolling. If it breaks the resistance of this accumulation here, we can almost certainly expect at least another half leg of a measured move. And if you look back from the open, we got leg 1, accumulation and pullback, nearly 50% pullback, and leg 2 is right here. But this leg is only about half the size of this total leg from point to point. By that I mean top here, bottom here, half is about there. All right, it's only like a $1.25 move, and then here you got the same repeat of about that range, or half of it. So the expected move, if this breaks out, is another leg up to about 114.25. And price action can really be thought of as that simple. I mean, you really don't have to put a whole lot of thought into just marking pivots on different control zones. It really just stands out to you once you recognize what you're looking for, and you just see it everywhere.
Yeah, you're waiting for the pattern to basically, we learn have fewer patterns in the arsenal or tools per se.
Right, just to keep it as simple as possible, but having a tool for every job.
Yeah, but waiting to see that pattern emerge.
Exactly.
That waiting game, you don't have to wait as long because you have more patterns to look for.
Precisely. Because you're eventually going to get enough muscle memory in spotting these patterns to where you can just glance at a chart and in less than a second you can already have a trade plan formulated.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's why I always recommend, day trading on paper, at least the futures, and just you can really learn price action really stinking fast on a 10-second chart. I'll tell you what.
You might want to know what the 1 5-minute charts look like too, though.
That's a really, really encouraging comment there, Lewis. Thank you. It says, I have learned so much from you guys, and it baffles me why there aren't more people watching this free content with so much information.
Yeah.
That's just the tip of the iceberg, buddy. If you get inside the group, you get a whole lot more.
Down the rabbit hole.
But I really appreciate the feedback on that, by the way, for first and second, dude, go tell your friends. If you guys like the channel, don't just like and subscribe and hit the bell, dude. Go talk about it.
Yeah, share us.
Help us out, and in return, we'll just keep this coming. Eventually, we'll have a few more moderators in here doing more. So, bottom line, if you love us, spread the love.
Share.
Share the love.
That's right. Share the love.
All right, there's SPY coming right to that resistance. Man, look how cool that inverted hammer was right there, right at the top.
Yep.
I mean, to the penny. That's how simple it is finding these pivot points and trading from one to the other. It is really. After a while, you start looking at charts enough, and it just becomes like shooting fish in a barrel. Yesterday, I was a little bit bamboozled because I had some issues going on. I missed that pre-market move and was just a little bit frazzled about it. Wasn't expecting this to keep grinding up. Didn't really have a clean signal going into it. Wife was a little bit little bit overwhelmed with her workload in the morning, getting the kids ready for school and all this other stuff and meetings, appointments, and so forth. So I ended up having to give a kid the ride to school, and I didn't get back until about 9 o'clock. And right when I walked in the door, before I could even get my computer booted, this was already in play and just running. But there was no real signal to that. It was just a matter of let's wait until the CPI data came out. And then, heck, I think the only thing we could have did was trade that on a 1 second chart, maybe. But there was really not much of a chart signal telling me to go there, other than the 1 minute 200 period right here. That tipping over that wick looked probably pretty vicious on a 10 second or even a 1 second chart. But once that got moving, man, that would have been an easy scalp on a 1 second chart. But I totally missed it. I feel terrible about that. All right, we're going to get the rest of this move, or we're coming back. All right, pretty simple 50% retracement of this leg right here. Where's the 20 period? Right there with it. About 396.55 would be a good target for bears. Let's see if we get one more leg to get there, and if it holds, we could very well get the miniature side of a measured move in itself, and that would probably extend us up to about 398.10. AMC is kind of grinding up in a nice, we call these a parabolic wedge breakout, because you get the pennant here. Let's look at that on a 1 minute chart. It looks a little neater. You get the pennant here, it finds support on an angular, and literally you just draw that back to the root. And when you see it start to find support and swing back above the 8 period, run with it. Go long. Eventually, if it does give you a breakover or a bear signal, go short.
Get out.
Pretty much. Take your profit, and you can reverse your position. You can trade the pullbacks. You can trade it however the heck you want. But the chart's going to tell you everything you need to know, candle for candle if you want. And just a couple simple moving averages. I throw Bollinger Bands on because they give you some really good visual on what the volatility levels are looking like. And the volatility levels are getting less and less and less as we get up to the top of this wedge. So at some point, I can almost certainly expect this to sell off, or at least pull back to about half of that, down to about 635. All right, sitting right on that 20 period with SPY. Bam. We're going to break that and go for a full, possibly down to the 200 at least. That's the yellow line here. All right, what other thing was that? Oh yeah, UNG. I got to get that on the map here. I think I'll take out my SPY chart down here real quick.
Jeremy, I gotta bounce here. I gotta run some errands because I'm out of food after that hurricane.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Totally
good to hear
understand.
from you today, Devin.
Yeah. Glad I was here. Power was out yesterday, so I'm sorry I wasn't around.
Survived the storm. Doing good.
Yeah, so I got through it. It's okay. Are we getting together a little later on?
Oh, it's Friday. We can. I'm going to try and come back for Power Hour. As long as,
well, I'll text you and we'll figure it out.
As long as life doesn't happen, I can do that.
As life does, as it does. Well, anyways, it's always great to be in this group, guys. Love
Yeah,
y'all.
man. Love having you.
Hope y'all have a great day.
Thank you.
See you later. Be safe out there.
What?
All right. So looking at natural gas, past few days, descending channel. We got the 3 hits on angular resistance. Let me just draw the darn thing. Sometimes I start speaking before I have the data at hand. I have a habit of that. I'm sorry. There we go. Descending channels have a tendency after the 3rd leg to breach, and certainly you can look a little closer. It attempted it 1, 2, 3rd time. It did break, and then it got rejected by the 200 period. Came down to an even lower low and gave us key support at the base of the entire pattern. Okay, so we have the if you want to look at this as a head and shoulders, there's your left shoulder, there's your head, there's your right shoulder. Same. Now we've broken the neckline. Well, we came off of key support. We found a key pivot in here. It was trading in a channel, and now it isn't. So Next thing we got is retracement to 50% of that descending trend. And I'm looking for a breakout on this above 21 bucks. And look left. We've got all sorts of levels of control in a previous bearish trend that we can expect to retrace. And as we know, natural gas is seasonal. It has lots of sector rotation to go with it to show you history of lots of swings. So anytime price gives you a rotation like that in a specific area of interest like energy, you can kind of expect it to follow through pretty regularly. But let's look at the big picture here, and I'm going to turn the lights off here so we can see through the lines. Giant M-top. I traded this long before on this little inverse head and shoulders pattern right here. It broke the neckline. I got long right around, I think it was like 22.50, 23 bucks, whatever. Rode that trend on up with debit spreads up to like, I held on to about $30.50. I didn't get the rest of that move. I was out because I was looking at, I traded in a debit spread with 45 days or so to expiration, and by the time this trend played out, I was at that magic 30 days to expiration zone where time decay starts to kick in and really take over. But I was in a nice $5 wide, made a nice, I think I got 100% return out of half of that position, and then I traded the rest of it at 120%. So I was able to make a really nice return on that. Caught the pullback. I didn't go short here. I did go long again later and took a 50% return out of that. And then I realized after this top breakover, we got a basic head and shoulders reversal, or a triple top. We got shoulder, head, shoulder, breakdown. Pretty easy pattern to trade. A lot of people look for those. And I didn't go short, although I wanted to. I didn't end up going short on this. That would have been a brilliant short. I was preoccupied trading something else, and I can't remember what. But long story short, we're at the bottom again, and we're kind of cycling up. But still, remember, this is a giant M top. So if it rejects this level here, we can almost certainly expect this to follow through and come back down below the critical support zone. So we always want to mark where that is, and that was about 1820. So if you break an M top down, it almost certainly comes back to key support, and typically you find that in two levels. You get one control bar here around 15.15, and then you get a base somewhere around 12.50. That'd be pretty bad for natural gas, but it's a volatile subject right now. So, you know, if the whole situation over in Russia and Ukraine stabilizes, well, maybe there'll be some treaties to help provide that energy flow back to Germany and some of the European nations, and perhaps the price of natural gas goes down, and of course a margin that uses natural gas as a future that it trades with an ETF anyway. It's a fund, and if natural gas becomes worth less, obviously the price of this ETF will become worth less, and over time it will collapse down. So it's kind of at a key spot where I don't necessarily want to go long or short with it, but I want to wait for a signal around here, and I think that it's going to give us that signal probably in the next coming week. And if it starts to boot out here, you can go long with some straight options. I don't think debit spreads will be the way to go on this, because I don't think you're going to have enough liquidity in the options to really take effect on a move this small. But if it starts to run up, you can start looking further out of the money, and with a lot more time to expiration, you can take at least some 20, 50% returns on those if it gets enough volume. But I'm going to certainly watch it more often around this level, because it's going to give us a signal one way or another pretty quick here. And pay attention to what's going on over there in Europe. So, all right, there's our break as expected at AMC. That was too easy. Sorry. And SPY, we kind of played around in a range. We found support right at that 200 period as expected. Put a bar through the 8 period. We're back above the 20 period. We may set up a tweezer here and threaten that pivot, that 396 pivot, or we might get continuation and start grinding through this 397 area. Be aware that today is a 0 day, so a lot of market makers are going to take advantage of that. They're going to do everything they can to hedge delta and trap range and make sure they get as many contracts that they've written to open to expire worthless so they can collect their money. That's how they make their money. They provide liquidity to the market, but they also have a lot of things that they need to hedge when they write these options contracts, both calls and puts. So anything out of the money, if you watch that 0 day, you'll see contracts a couple strikes out. Open a day, they're worth like a couple $100 a piece, and all of a sudden they shrink down to nothing by the end of the day. So fast. So selling those 0 days to open, it could be very, very lucrative, but it's also a bit risky because if you get a trend day like you had yesterday out of nowhere, you can be affected. So you got to be very aware of what's going on in the world as far as the news headlines and reports, this and that, which talking heads chipping their teeth at what time. All that stuff matters on a 0 day. But one like today, I don't expect it to be very eventful from here on. I think we're going to kind of taper off volume and probably grind to a sideways close. And I kind of posted that in Reddit last night on Wall Street Bets. I was like, I expect SPY to just be fairly flat going into next week. And then if it remains bullish, we can possibly get that push up to 415. But man, it's going to take some oomph. We got to have some good news coming out next week for that to happen. And I'm not sure we're going to get it, but it is possible. It's definitely within range. All right. I just got an alert on BBIG. It's actually moving. That thing's a grinder. But at some point, the short interest has to snap on that one. That's what I'm watching. I'll throw it on the grid here. Oh, look. Let's see kind of.
I had one of those things happen where I was watching a chart, but I was on the wrong underlying for the options chain.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I bought the wrong strike.
Oh, man, that's always no fun.
Yeah, and then I was like, well, the chart's going up. Why is this thing going down? And then I realized I bought an IWM strike while I was looking at a QQQ and MES chart and totally blew it.
Oh, I hate when I've done that before. It's not fun.
I caught it, and I took a little loss on it, but that's okay. I got enough settled funds to, wait for a setup.
It's worse when I do something like that. It's typically while I'm moderating, while I'm demonstrating and
I've done
streaming.
that. I've lost money while I was moderating when I first started. That's why I stopped trading when I was moderating.
It's a lot of juggling.
Yeah. I just don't have that skill set to juggle all that and do all that. I can moderate, but can't necessarily trade while I moderate.
I think you've got the skill set. You just need to develop it slowly, just
It's
like
working.
we tell people.
It's coming.
Yeah. It's with practice, it makes perfection, and that's why I started out like as soon as I became a moderator. I was still doing some swing trading in the long run. That's easy, but like day trading, I went to paper for a while. I was moderating just to make sure I could build that skill while I'm teaching, and eventually I was able to just naturally trade while streaming. So it comes to you.
I'm going to get there. It comes to you. And I have been doing that. That's what I usually do. I usually paper trade the MES while I'm moderating.
And it's
And
kind
I did last week. I did do one on my phone while I was moderating. That's true.
Yeah.
Getting there. I'm not awake still. Too long a night.
Totally fine, man. You take all the time you need. Get some electrolytes in you.
Yeah. Well, I didn't drink, so.
Oh, okay.
I'm not. That's not the problem. I just.
Yeah, you get out
late nights. All my rowdy friends have settled down. I'm a rowdy friend. I settled down. All right, that's given us a certainly bearish look there on IWM.
Yeah,
it's funny. Usually IWM runs with SPY, but it's not. And today.
I'm gonna throw that on there in a moment. What was bullish here?
It's and UVXY is flagging like nobody's business. Down, bear flagging. And but at the same time, this is starting to look like a triple top on SPY.
Kinda.
The MES.
Or an M.
And yeah, or an M. But it's yeah. Is it a cup and
That's what we
handle?
got.
Well, could be a cup and handle, maybe not.
Kind of curious about BBIG now. That's almost a setup for a squeeze. I need to go
This
check
is
the short interest on that.
sideways, and we're above that 15-minute opening range on SPY. So, but those two wicks, 1020 and 1025, those two guys. You see it, 1020 and 1025 on the SPY, 5-minute chart.
1020 and 1025.
On a 5-minute chart. Why don't they look like it?
Bar up and an inverted hammer. These two here.
You got a bar up, those two, which show me.
So I got a bar up with a wick, and I got an inverted hammer at the top, at the upper pivot points.
That's weird. I'm gonna show you what I got.
Is Weeble doing that again?
Well, see, this to me, what I'm seeing has got me waiting. But this is, I don't know if you'll see them. It's two inverted, it's two dojis basically, but they're inverted hammer-looking things, 1020 and 1025, and then you get the two red bars next to it that where we are now, hammering down in the 396.01. Those are like those 2 5-minute bars I showed you the other day when price refused to go back lower. These look like price refused to go higher. So that M triple top is starting to look like a real triple top to me.
It is. There. Now it is on the 5-minute. It's right at that level. Let's go back to the 1-minute. Yeah, we're tripping. We're through the 200. See ya, pivot.
Dollar just popped up over its pivot, hammered into it.
Nice.
IWM is sinking. I should go get my money back now.
There you go.
No revenge trading. I have to wait.
395.40 I have marked out as a key break point for support. If that's going to continue to smoke that pivot, it will go straight for angular.
You have 395.40.
It just is as a key pivot.
Oh
or key
yeah,
support
I
point.
see it. I see it.
Not necessarily a pivot there. It's just a point of interest.
Just a point of interest, right? It was top of some of those high wave candles. Man, that is a bear flag if I haven't seen one before on IWM.
I think we're
That
about
is
to.
a freaking on the 5-minute. That is a bear flag.
I think BBIG is about to get a measured move up to 85 cents. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I need to look at short interest on that because that was growing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll get back to that later.
11:10. I'll be right back. I don't know how long. You still on YouTube? Hi, YouTube.
Yeah, I'm still on for a little while.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Although my camera went way out of focus for some reason. What's going on here? Oh, okay. It's just the preview on YouTube looks a little blurry, but it's not blurry, I promise. Hopefully it's not. Kind of cool how you can literally draw a line on your chart, know where a point of interest is in space, like under price action, and watch price react to it like perfectly. When you get to that level, dude, try not to break your arm patting yourself on the back. Those points of interest, man, I'm blown away at how easy they are to find. And all I had to do was look left on that one. I had to look at all this consolidation here. And there it was right here, the base of this gap. Bam. Just a point of interest. Now we're looking for the next solid pivot at 395 here. For some reason it's down at 394.93, but I'm going to drag that to the place it's supposed to be. Close enough. 1 penny, 2 penny. All right, smoke that pivot. We got angular support way down here. If this thing starts to rip down, that's where it's going. Right down here to about 391.50. And where's the purple wolf on a 5-minute chart? Because that seems a little odd. Oh, it's there on a 5-minute chart too. Cool. I would definitely like that. At least my free put debit spreads would really like that. All right, what else we got with Meta? We kind of are coming back to a key support zone again at that $12.15 level. Looks like a no-go for now to push that 114.25 area. And we stopped at 113.76 with a wick there as a previous high. Maybe next time, Meta. Maybe next time. In fact, I think we could probably hit just below that 112.16 area and go for a 50%er down to 111.95. That's just looking at this trend here about the 50%er. AMC breaking over nice. Kind of found support on half this move.
That was a nice little triple top look, wasn't it?
It was.
See it, and it was descending on the 1 minute chart.
And that 395 pivot, man, perfect target. And it's so cool. I was saying, like, I literally looked at the base of the gap in the pre-market. That's where that 395.40 comes from. Look, dude.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
That is cool. That hammer is on a 395.17, which was a VWAP. So
Yes,
let's
sir.
see. That's one flag. Let's see if it's really going to do this flag down thing. It looks like it is. Maybe not. Let's see. A lot of times, Jeremy, what I've in the past misunderstood is sometimes because you're going candle for candle, move for move, as opposed to overall sentiment.
Right.
If you say we're bears now, I used to think, oh, that means the sentiment's totally changed.
Ah.
And I didn't realize how fast you were moving. I'm good now. I know.
Right.
I didn't realize how fast you were moving, and that you were talking about, like I said yesterday, I said, man, you can trade candle for freaking candle, and that's what you're doing. You go counter trend wherever the price action is taking you, you go that way.
Right.
And I was thinking on a sentiment base. I'm thinking of a larger picture of, okay, now we're going to be bearish the next several, 15, 20 minutes. And you're thinking, oh, we're only going to be bearish for the next couple of seconds.
Yeah. That's the difference, man. Sometimes I'm literally trading by the second.
I know.
And,
It's like, it took me a little while to get that. And that's why, that's one of those things where it's like, I can't listen to anybody. I got to go find out for myself. And that's what I've done, is find out for myself.
Damn. Someone was commenting on our YouTube channel, XPEV, time to short. I haven't traded that in a long time.
Yeah, bears.
Damn, that's a hell of a bar.
Great. There's a breakover coming.
There it is. I don't know that I'd want to short XPEV at this point. That kind of looks like a rounding bottom on the daily chart. Let's look further left and see if there's control areas to look at. No, there isn't. You gotta be careful with that one. That's one of those stocks that can just do an about face and rip a face off in like very short time. I mean, if you want to scalp a pullback, maybe, but dude, I think that's getting long here. And we were talking a little bit this morning about emerging markets with the guys over there at money.net. Last night, actually, we were talking about it. And if you look at EEM and FXI and compare it to a lot of these Chinese corporations here, like XPEV is, they're slow-moving ETFs, but man, they get there. And you can run leaps on that thing, dirt stinking cheap. So there's FXI, and that's kind of looking like at least a first target of about 27.20, just retracing some of this trend here back to another point of control. Look further left. Can we get an extension to 29? Maybe. And then there's EEM, which is actual emerging markets. It says it right here in the target or in the title. And that one's got a much better pattern. You've got an actual breakout happening now, and we're right at 50% retracement of this short-term trend here. But let's look further, dude. This thing's been beat to hell and back in a long way. It's got to make some sort of reprieve here. So if we get into a trend, look at the weekly chart and look at the 200 period. We've got a target all the way up to like 44.30 if emerging markets decide to become bullish for the long term. So kind of look at that stuff. And anytime you see something like XPEG or XPEV, looking like it's just ripping a face off, and you just want to short something as if it's going to be a big old green bar with a big wick on top. You want to short the top down. Careful, because when they start squeezing, you got to remember there's short interest there too. It's already built in. And just like I look at little short squeezes that pop up on penny stocks like BBIG, kind of the same issue. You kind of look at something like that and it's like, well, is it worth being short? Because my risk is infinite being short. I'd rather just trade the trend and just trade it on a shorter and shorter time frame. So like we could go so far as to go to a 5-second chart on that thing and scalp it candle for candle on this trend. And we'll know exactly if it's going to break over or not. We'll know exactly when. Look at the 20 period. That's a 5-second chart, y'all.
Wow.
So you can go in and see these things, and that's why I use that 8 period on every chart I got. 8 period and the 20 period is just built into the Bollinger Bands, but you'll know exactly where the breakover is and exactly where you can take a trade. Like here's your breakover, clean. Cool. Let's move to the next time frame. Let's go to a 30-second chart. Maybe we get a pullback. Expect 50%. So sure, if you wanted to for like 2 minutes, you could be short, but be very careful. 833 would be a clean retracement of this little trend here. That's a 30-second chart. What would I rather do? I'd rather wait for that retracement to happen and then get another entry on a pullback for long. That's what I'd rather do. That trend is your friend. You know, if you want to trade counter trend, great. You can go and scalp these little pullbacks all you want. But I can scalp them both ways. Not everybody can do that. I see more potential in going long on Baba. Yeah, that's another one I got to look at too. I've sinfully taken my eyes off the Chinese market for too long. I need to get back into it because there's some stuff that's kind of setting up for volatility, and you got the current regime in charge of China over there telling the corporations and big banks that they need to be buying their local equities to help shore the market up. I guess they don't do QE like we do. That's how the communists do quantitative easing. Like, you buy or else. Sorry, I don't want to be stereotypical, but that's exactly how it looks. That's kind of a cool little double bottom here. Plus, we have that same, pre-market gap up like we do with SPY. Baba's looking pretty good.
Looking bullish, or is it looking bearish?
It's looking
I'm not looking at your chart.
A little while. Looking bullish for a little while. We got a nice little double bottom after that opening pullback. We've got targets in there somewhere. Let's see. Let's see what they look like. Yeah, this is typical. You got L1, R1, L2, resistance test, pull back to support of L1, and we're grinding on top of the 20 and the 8, and we just broke R1, and target 1 on a 5-minute chart's all the way at the top of this control bar, so you can expect a push right to 72.29 with that one. Let's look a little further and break this down into smaller bite-sized pieces. Alright, there you go. Now you've got a little bit more structure here. You can go first target 71.70. Second target can be as high as 72.59. But what's the substructure? There's control right here in this pullback here, so you can expect 71.46, bottom of this hammer. It's got to get through that to push to that next target. So if you want to make a quick 30-cent scalp on that, that's where you're going to look for your action. Look at that. As I say it, it's done. 71.36 to 71.48 in a wick. Let's see if it holds that 8 period one more time and boosts that into a push to about 71.67, 71.68. This is how price action can really simplify your trading, folks. This is it right here. You look at those 1 and 5 minute charts and you can play this candle for candle. It'll take some time to get there, but you will learn it, and it will baffle you how easy it is to trade price action after that. It's like all the long-term charts just become simple when you've mastered the short-term charts. Nice little spinner. Let's see what the body does on this next 1 minute candle.
2 minutes on this 5.
So you remember on SPY 1 minute candles, we had these 2 wicks here up in the upper band, and I said watch the next candle. If it's a hammer, we go long. Bam. All right, kind of a similar setup here. If this candle does not form a hammer, expect a pullback. It's red now, but this is live. This candle's not quite closing yet. Give it till it's closed. If it prints it looks red now, it may very well have a wick and then have a hammer body, and the body of that candle can close just above the previous body. That would be a hammer. That would be the signal to go long. Let it close. It'll tell you. Nope. Red bar. We go down. Probably expect support 71.17.
If then.
That's right. Programming.
And if then statements. If this, then that.
You're literally coding software for your brain.
Absolutely. And it takes concentration the way you do it. It's a lot of concentration.
Bam.
Okay, we're going to have a double bottom on this 1 minute.
Smoked my 71.17 target. Now we're hitting the 20. Retracing the next bar. Look left. All right. 20 period will support that for a moment, but the extension could be right to $71. Damn. Ain't it cool? Those signals just, they come to you, and you can spot them on any time frame, right down to a 1 second chart. It's just build that skill, man. It's coming. Look at this. Wicked exactly to that support zone, and then close the body right on top of the 20 period. Does this mean go long? Not yet. Wait for this candle. This candle will tell you the clue for what to expect on the next candle. And Baba's kind of one of those things. It's what do they call that? The Google of China, something like that. I don't even know. I don't pay attention to that. I just look at the chart. But that to me looks like clean volatility. But let me throw this in a different format here. So you can see there is a trend building there. It's got the potential to run up. Go to like 84.70. All those targets print right out. You can see right where the green zones are on the Heikin-Ashi candles. They really stand out with that. I don't trade with Heikin-Ashi candles unless I'm on like a 1 or 1 second chart, and sometimes a 10-second chart, depending on liquidity. But I always reference it for longer term stuff too, because it really helps you see the forest through the trees there. Like if you look at candles, yeah, you'll see where those zones are. You look for your dojis and your bars. Pretty easy to print your pivots on those. But if you want to verify that you're seeing something where you got very low liquidity here, you got these gaps and just ticky-tack, we call that, all over the place, even on a daily chart, something's happening there. It's volatility building. So when we have low volatility, going into high volatility, you'll get these gaps in this ticky-tack candle set. So you go and turn that into Heikin-Ashi candles. It smooths that out for you so you can see what the action is. We're on top of the 8 period. 8 period is about to cross the 20. We can expect some at least midterm bullish trends, out to probably about December, the first week of December, somewhere in there. I can see that hitting like 84.40 pretty easily. So yeah, good one. Amazon of China. That's what it is. Thank you for correcting me on that. Google of China. I'm so out of tune with those markets. It's just I've gotten so much more into price action on everything. I used to know all this stuff. I used to have that all down. Like this is that, this is what this is equivalent in China. All that inside, all the fundamentals. I used to be kind of into that quite a bit, and then everything just fell to price action after learning all that stuff. It's all price action. And to boot, like my options knowledge, I went and studied everything to know about all the math involved with the Greeks. And like now I just don't have to care. The price action tells me what to do. And as long as I'm within reason of delta, trade it. That's how it goes. You just go from really complex, knowing how everything moves, how everything works. And then you get to a point where you've learned it all and you can't really find much more that you don't know about, or at least have a functioning working knowledge of. And then you just go back to basics. You go to simple price action. It's all there. Everything I need to know is in price action. So right down to looking at I used to go and look at like book values of stocks and stuff all the time, and I'd go and see, okay, what's this supposed to be trading at? And then the chart will tell me, well, the chart doesn't give a damn what it's supposed to be trading at. The chart is still bearish, or the chart is still bullish, or whatever. It'll tell me, and that's what price action is. It's telling you what investors and traders think of that stock. It doesn't matter what the fundamentals are, and it really proves it when you start to master price action, long and short term. It just stands out to you. The chart tells you everything you need to know. Speaking of which, here goes SPY tripping down the stairs into hell, so to speak. I used to call it that.
94.52 is the Globex low.
Oh, yeah. I can't believe I forgot to mark that with that orange pivot that I usually put up. Yeah.
Yeah, I do that with an orange pivot too, an orange price line.
It just makes sense because it stands out to you. It gives you that kind of magnet target that price tends to follow.
It reminds me of the actual book map too.
Right.
And it's also how, some of the indicators look for support and resistance, those colors.
Dude, looking at the 5-minute chart on BABA, it actually might set up for a bearish bull flag, or bear flag here with a bearish measured move set up for the short term. You might be able to get a better long entry out of that if you play it right. If that extends down to about 68.25, you might be able to start looking at call debit spreads on that thing. Gotta hold that key area though, right there, about $70. That's a tough call. That could very easily go wrong on you. Just looking at shorter time frames, it looks good on the daily and the weekly for a reversal. Right up until the point where it breaks below that 8 period on the daily. It happens to be right about $68, $69. Yeah, careful with that one going long term, but you can definitely day trade the crap out of BABA. All right, well, I'm going to call it a day for YouTube. I'm going to go and take a break internally as well. Go get some lunch, and I think I'm running on nothing but coffee and half this morning so far, so I need a refuel. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. We will see you guys next week on Monday. Stone will be leading the show on Monday and bringing that to YouTube. Kind of regularly, but time-wise, we're somewhere between 9:30 and 10:30. We'll throw it up on YouTube, just kind of show you guys what we do. We're always happy to share, little bits and pieces of knowledge with our friends on YouTube. But just know that our rates are pretty low on our monthly. If you want to try us out, come check us out. You'll be blown away by what's under the cover here, so to speak, and what we do. And as far as that goes, I mean, it's been a pretty interesting adventure to be part of this community and be able to have grown to the level that I'm at now because of this community, and then be in this position to pay it forward now. It comes full circle and warms my heart and everything, and I love being here. So, showing people what we do on the outside for free is also great. But not only that, but giving you something useful, providing value to you guys. I mean, that's the whole point. That's why I'm saying if you really like our channel and you love what you're seeing and you're wondering why not as many people are watching as it should be, go talk about us. Help us out. Help us build this YouTube channel and get us a following here. We'll keep providing this every day. We'll drop a lot of knowledge. And every time we do, we get a little bit of feedback from you guys commenting here on our channel right now. And it's great because the more and more comments we get in there, think of it as the way our community works on the inside too, is we get more eyes on the market. We can find stuff that's moving. Like you brought up Baba here, and heck yeah, I could find day trades on it in seconds. That's the kind of thing we get when we have something that's moving that you might see and one of the moderators might not see. We can go and focus right on that and we'll scalp it together. It's how a community works. You see something moving, squirrel, we'll go attack it. We work like a pack. So, you get something that's moving like that, you post a little comment about it inside our group or on our YouTube channel, and yeah, we're happy to take a look. And if it's worth a trade, we'll stick with it. We'll run with it. We're good like that. That's how a community works. It's everybody benefits, and at the same time, everybody's also learning. So, kudos. We'll see you guys next week. Have a wonderful weekend. And like I said, just if you like our channel, like, subscribe, hit the bell, and tell your friends. Bring more the merrier. We'll see you guys around.